How's everyone doing? Lovely to be back with you. This week's been mayhem. We've just launched the Body Bounce Back plan, the free 5-day plan. So that's in motion at the moment. So it was your last chance to sign up. That kicked off today. So we've been busily going on the Facebook page and seeing everyone, but I hope you are well. For those of you that maybe just joined for the first time, my name is Naomi Judge. I'm a naturopath and I'm a nutritionist, and I help women connect the dots between their health, their happiness and their hormones. And so I talk a lot about cleansing, I talk a lot about balancing your hormones, I talk about the foods that you should be eating, supplements that you should be doing, and just general things that you should be doing to help reset your hormones, help balance your hormones, help with your metabolism, help with feeling good. And so today I'm going to be talking about the 5 habits or the 5 things that can actually help you as a woman come down from stress. So come down from anxiety, come down from elevated adrenaline, come down from elevated cortisol. So many of us have lives where we're either highly stressed, we've got lots of things going on in the day, so we've got kids, we've got a job, or we've got other things that we have to do in terms of time restraints, and so there's a lot going on along in our life. And as women, we get affected differently by stress. Our hormones get affected differently. We have different levels of melatonin, cortisol, DHEA, testosterone, estrogen, oxytocin. We have different levels, and so it's actually good to know that we need some different things to help us come down from stress. And sometimes what we need to do is the opposite thing of what we really should be doing. So for instance, I had a client yesterday who likes to retreat when she gets stressed, and I said retreating will actually exacerbate your negative hormones, it will exacerbate the cortisol, it will lower the oxytocin, so it will highlight that anxiety, it will highlight that stress. So it's good to know this, it's good to know that there's just a few things that you can do that can help in the moment. So whether you're stressed out with the kids, whether you're stressed out at work, wherever you're stressed out, this will help. The first one is openness. Openness is very important, I mean for everybody, but particularly for women. Openness helps to increase your oxytocin levels. Openness helps to increase that connection with people around you, and that in turn helps with your stress response. When you're open, you're accepting to others. When you're open, you've got a broad mind. When you're open, you're impartial. When you're open, you're interested in what the other person is saying. You're interested in life. You're interested in what things are going on around you. When you're open, you're observant to things. You're receptive. You're more tolerant and you're more understanding. All of these things help to reduce your cortisol levels and help to reset your nervous system. They're also all of those feelings, all of those words. So just have a think about that. I mean, when you're feeling stressed and when you're in a stressed moment, when you can feel your heart start to go, you know, you can feel the heartbeat start to go, or you can feel yourself getting hot, or you can feel your body tense up. Wherever you feel stress, just try and feel that. Try and feel that openness to the world. So what we tend to do, we want to close off. We want to protect ourselves. We want to put the barrier down. That's what we want to do when we get stressed. But if you really just try and relax into it, relax into the feelings, and try and feel yourself being open, feel like the barrier is going up, and feel open, feel open to the world, open to people around you, and feel that acceptance. And that is a wonderful way to just help that cortisol lower, help that adrenaline lower, and what it will do is it will help release that oxytocin, and it will help with that serotonin. And so that in turn, you may not feel like doing it, but just try and sit with it. Just try and sit with that sensation. So sit with that feeling, you know, that feeling of openness. Hi, Anna. I know, I hope you already started. Just try and sit with that openness, you know, feeling open, and think about what feeling open is to you. So I know sometimes through my menstrual cycle, and I talk about this a lot with some of my clients, and I talk about this a lot with some of my friends and some of my colleagues, is that there are times in my menstrual cycle when I want to shut off, when I really don't want to be around. Now, it's okay when you're going through your bleed, your monthly bleed, that's a good time to kind of be quiet. That's a good time to just be away. But there are other times in your cycle, particularly that from ovulation to bleed, where your hormones start doing crazy things and cortisol might rise, oxytocin might lower, serotonin might lower, and that's when you know you need to try and really feel that openness, really feel those words, be receptive to the environment around you, and be interested, you know, be interested in people and be more observant, and notice in yourself if you have negative feelings about people in that particular time. Are you judgmental? Because being judgmental can also be a knock-on effect to your hormones. So just know that about yourself and start to really feel that openness. Number 2 is making a connection. So if you are feeling very low, or if you're at a time in your cycle when your serotonin is low, or if you're at a time in your cycle when your progesterone or oxytocin are low, or even if you just had a baby and you're feeling that lowness, making a connection is a wonderful way to bring up those hormones and actually help with stress and help relieve stress. Making a connection in particular, it can be as simple as making a real life connection with the person at the grocery store. So the person that you're buying the food from, really being interested in making a connection with that person and asking how their day is. When you go and get your coffee, making a connection and asking that person, what are they doing at the weekend? And really being interested and receptive to their response. That connection is wonderful for women, and that making a connection helps women feel that being part in the universe, but also it helps with oxytocin levels again. So all these little things, they might not seem big, but if you're feeling the stress of the day, if you're feeling the anxiety of the day, and you're rushing to pick the kids up and you've got to go and get petrol, instead of rushing and going in and paying, try and be open in that moment and try and make a connection in that moment with the person you're buying the petrol from, because that will change your state. This is all about changing a state, your state in that moment. And these 5 actions will help you change your state in that moment. The third one is, I used to call gratitude journaling, but I'm actually going to call, it's more positive thinking. It's more creating a good state of mind. So it's good feeling thinking. Now, that could be gratitude journaling, or it could be feeling a good feeling moment in that moment. And the way to feel a good feeling moment in the moment is you can think of good feeling thoughts. So you can think of a time in your life when you felt that happiness, when you felt that joy. If you can take yourself back to that feeling, it's a good feeling, it's a feeling. It's not just going and buying your favorite thing, or having a windfall and remembering that you won the money. It's about that good feeling. How does that feeling feel inside you, that moment? For me, I remember a couple of years ago, when I had some extra money in my bank, and my family lives in the UK, so I remember I could go to a store and I could buy my mum a necklace from the store, and I didn't have to think about how much it cost. But for me, it was that feeling. I remember walking into the store and just feeling so free and so joyous that I could do this. And it was the freedom, that feeling of joyness. And I go back to that moment when I feel stressed. I really go back to that moment. So just sit with that for 10 minutes, or it can even be when you wake up in the morning, feeling the bedclothes, feeling your duvet, and just feeling the comfort of the bed and feeling the coziness of the bed, and just really living in that moment. And that will help to change your state. Another great stress tactic is befriending. So if you're going through a stressful time, I forgot to put it onto do not disturb. So befriending. Now, what we tend to think is that our stress tactic is fight or flight. But no, that stress tactic, fight or flight, is really designated for that high testosterone, and men do really well going into that fight or flight. So men do really well either going up to a situation, dealing with it, or going away from a situation. So that's fight or flight. Women do better actually doing the tend or befriend. So I start with befriend. Befriend is interacting with strangers, making friends with those around you. So if you're going through a stressful situation, instead of going into fight or flight, you go into that kind of befriend situation. And then on the other hand of that, tend. So tending, a lot of people tend and look after people, and that's a great way to reduce stress. So befriend is one, and then tending is another. So tending is kind of caring for animals, caring for loved ones, caring for children, caring for your elderly parents. So there's some kind of caring there, and that's tending. So women do better going into tend and befriend stress response rather than the fight or flight stress response. So remember that next time you feel that stress response coming on, remember, you feel that stress response coming on, you've been programmed to respond in a certain way. You've been programmed to respond in fight or flight. You know fight or flight, so you've been programmed to either drive off in a real mood or shout at the person. That's the programmed response. But try and when you're in that moment and you can feel yourself, you can feel your nervous system coming up, the adrenaline coming up and the cortisol coming up, remember that the response, the natural response for you is that tend or befriend. So go into kind of a caring mode, go in a befriending mode, befriend the person you're actually angry with, and just see how that changes your state, because it will change your state. And then if you keep doing that, what that's going to do is that's going to reset your nervous system, and it's going to change the way your brain is wired. So then you have less stress responses, you're less anxious, you have less adrenaline pumping up and less cortisol pumping up. So that's how it will work, and that's the best way to sort of have it going forward. It is a practiced way to do it, but this is fantastic for women. This is the best way to help your nervous system and the best way to help you come down for stress. So we've got openness. Practice openness on a daily basis. Openness is being accepting to everyone, being broad-minded, being impartial, not being judgmental, being tolerant about everyone. That's openness, and that's one of the best ways to help your stress response. Secondly is making connections each day, and you can just make one a day, whether it's a person that makes your coffee, whether it's a person at the shopping centre, person in the queue in front of you, or just someone that you walk along the street that you say hello to, you know, just those kind of connections. The next is positive journaling and feel good emotions. So get yourself into emotion and remember a feeling where you can feel that emotion of freedom, joy, happiness. Really feel it. So it may be something in your past, or it may be a feeling right now of how your sofa sits or how that herb tea feels. Does it make you feel joyous? Really feel that moment. The fourth is befriending. If you're in a real situation of stress or tension, if you've been put in a situation that's really uncomfortable for you, the best way to get through that anxiety, whether maybe you're anxious because you're in a room of people, you've got to talk in front, maybe you're going to a new place or you're doing a new exercise and you're anxious about that. To get through that, you befriend. Once you befriend in that situation, that will get you through that first initial anxiety. And the next is tend. If you're going through anxiety every single day, if you feel like you're on high alert, if you feel like your blood's boiling, if you can feel that heart going a lot of the times, tending. So finding someone to look after, someone to care for, something to care for. It can be gardening, it can be animals, it can be children, it can be the elderly, it can be anybody, but just finding and caring for somebody else will help to rebalance your cortisol and your oxytocin. Your feel-good hormone is your oxytocin. And remember, your innate natural response to stress is tend and befriend, not so much fight or flight. So really bring yourself back. When you see yourself or feel yourself starting to react to a tense situation, just feel that tending and befriending situation. Just feel yourself in that situation rather than the reactionary state. And that will help with chronic kind of stress and chronic anxiety. So I hope that helped you guys today. I love it because it's so beautiful, and it's a really great way to help with stress and to help with anxiety. And I know a lot of you do have anxiety, so I really hope you found that helpful today. Thanks so much for joining. Anna, I hope you loved your first day of Body Bounce Back. I'll be popping on there later to see you all and to see how you're all going. So have a wonderful day, everybody, and I'll see you next week. Bye. Oh, also, just before I go, Sunday night Brenda and I are running a free workshop at 8:30 p.m. online, and I'll be posting the link. Bye bye.